Hey there everyone, today is another magical day. Today's topic, very exciting, facial recognition. We're going to get to that in just a minute, but before we do, I would like to introduce you to my new updated studio setup. This studio features Pegasus returning on his perch, Mickey, artwork, and of course some amazing Disney collectibles. Now, the thing that I love about this studio, besides the lighting and how things are set up, is the fact that the things on the shelves here are going to change with time. So maybe you'll see a sneak peek or a spoiler in there, something to watch out for in the future. Very excited to share it with you. Let me know your thoughts, but now let's jump into today's video. You may recall a little while ago I mentioned the fact that Disney is likely going to be changing how we enter the parks in the future. I made this prediction months ago. Sure enough, now we see that facial recognition has made its way to the Magic Kingdom. It was only a few months ago that we saw the security completely change at Walt Disney World, and now we're seeing a similar change to how we make our way into the park. When Disney first announced Magic Mobile, we knew that this was the first in many steps that Disney was planning on taking. If you want to learn more about that, I have a video all about Magic Mobile and everything we know about it. But now Disney's rolled out the next phase of that new entry into the parks. It's called facial recognition. Most smartphones nowadays already use facial recognition to unlock them. You just look at it, swipe up, and you're there. It's super easy and convenient, but now we're seeing it all around, including at Walt Disney World. I had the opportunity to go to the Magic Kingdom and test it myself. It's voluntary right now. They're just doing the early testing and you do not have to use it, but it's easy to say that Disney wants this to be the future. I volunteered for this test simply by walking into the line that says facial recognition testing in progress. Now when you step in this line, first up you have to take off any hats and glasses, but the big question mark that's still on many of our minds: masks are meant to stay on. Not just meant to stay on, they have to stay on, right? Disney's policies say mask must stay on. But this facial recognition, you'd think, needs that, face in order to let you in. Sure enough, nope, it just needs this part, I suppose. It was super simple. I simply touched my magic band to that glowing Mickey orb, as we've done for many years, and then I looked at the screen. It showed an arrow, which camera I'm supposed to look at. You'll notice from the pictures there are two, and then it turned green a few seconds later. The test was complete. It didn't say anything. It didn't show my face. None of that. It simply said, "You're good to go" by turning green. That was the end of the test. When you're in the moment, it just seems so simple. You just touch your magic band, you look at the camera or the arrow where it shows you to look at, and then you're set to go. It's just as easy as walking into the Magic Kingdom any other day. It just took a few extra seconds as it was loading to make sure it had your face. Now I want to go over a few things that we know about this system right now, and then I'm going to go into a few of my thoughts about how it's going to be used in the future and how we predicted this for the future. Let's go over what Disney has officially shared with us. Disney has created a web page all about this facial recognition test. They talk about how it's another convenient way for guests to experience the parks, especially while navigating the impacts of the global pandemic. Now Disney touched on why they're doing this. Simply put, they want a touchless experience, and this 30-day test is all about that. You remember how we used to get into the Magic Kingdom. We touch our magic band, we put our finger on the fingerprint scanner. That is something that Disney wants to phase out, and this facial recognition is how they plan on doing that. Now if you're wondering about how the system works, it's similar to other facial recognition softwares that we've seen before. Simply put, Disney captures the face and then changes it to a unique number, which is then associated with your admission. So now it kind of knows you, it recognizes you, and from that point forward, it should be faster to let you into the park. Disney goes over how it's done. Simply put, you walk into the line where the test is happening, you remove your hat and glasses, then you touch your magic band to the orb as we spoke about, look at the picture, and you're set to go. But then they give us some information about security, because this is a question that has already come up and I think it's worth discussing. Now, one of the first things that came to my mind when you think about facial recognition is security. There are security cameras all around the world, not just at Disney, so this brings up questions about security. Disney did give us some information about that. The security, integrity, and confidentiality of your information are extremely important to us. We have implemented technical, administrative, and physical security measures that are designed to protect guest information from unauthorized access, disclosure, use, and modification. Disney gives us even more information about that and the fact that they'll be deleting the faces from the test after the test concludes. Even though Disney does have this information, questions of security are still coming up, and they're totally valid. I totally understand them. I'm thinking to myself, okay, they had our fingerprint, now they have our face, right? I'm thinking of the difference between the two. It's a personal decision, and right now it's a test, but is it possible in the future this will be made mandatory? Yes, I think it's a real possibility. More than that, I think it's likely. I think Disney is just testing this for now, and eventually this will be rolled out at every park and every entrance. And Disney will have all sorts of security, barriers in place to ensure that your face, or in the past, fingerprint, is safe. They are all about that. So I want to make sure you're safe, you're secure, your information is secure, and then we'll be moving forward. But, it's going to take some getting used to, and I think everyone understands that. Now, how did we know this was coming? Well, 5 years ago, hard to imagine, the Disney Research Hub came out with some kind of details about facial recognition. The plan was originally, at least as far as we thought about it, to kind of capture people's emotions on attractions, and I do think that is still going to happen. We saw patents all about emotional tracking and facial tracking on attractions, but for the entryway, how are they able to capture the details of your face with a mask on? What follows now is just my speculation, but I think it's valid. If you think about the video that Disney published 5 years ago, they're able to capture, and this is 5-year-old technology, the details of every small wrinkle in your face with their very special 3D mapping and facial imaging. And if you think about that, if they're able to capture every single small wrinkle, is just a good example, of your face, do they really need your nose and mouth included when you have a mask on? Clearly no, they don't need those things in order for them to capture your face as you make your way into the park. They're still able to recognize that it is indeed you. Now, one question that's on my mind, will this facial recognition software be able to tell the difference between twins that make their way into the park? As we know, identical twins look identical, and so will the camera be able to tell the difference? I can't tell the difference when I see identical twins. Will the camera be able to pick up on the smallest of small detail? My guess is no, because if you remember when Apple first came out with Face ID, there were many kids who could kind of log into their parents' account looking close enough to their parent. However, it has come a long way, and right now only the right person can log into that specific phone. The Apple ID has evolved. In the same way, the Face ID at first will be maybe a little bit difficult, but eventually it will evolve like all technology, and it will become accurate enough where it can tell the difference between even twins. The next big question that comes to my mind, how else will this technology be used at Walt Disney World in the future? You may recall a couple years ago we learned about that patent, about Disney kind of reading those facial expressions and emotions on attractions, and how that'll likely change the experience for each guest. Now imagine we take that and take it a step further. Instead of just changing the experience every time you ride, imagine now it's linked to your Magic Band. So let's pretend for a moment it knows it's me, right? It knows it's got Michael in the vehicle, right? You can see my face. It usually knows that I like this kind of experience, but this time I'm on any attraction and I end up yawning. It's not for me this time. Personally, I can't imagine that happening on any Disney attraction for me, but just imagine it for a moment. So it knows it's me. It knows that 9 times out of 10 I end up having a great time smiling the entire time on the attraction. But now I'm yawning a little bit. Maybe I want things to change up a little bit. So it knows, okay, that's Michael. He wants things to change up a little bit this time. And then all the rest of the day, rides start to change a little bit for me because it knows that maybe my mood has shifted slightly on that day. It's able to actually customize as you go through life. Not just the day, your entire life. That's like far level thinking. For example, Small World, how can that adapt as you go through years of your life? I know it's a kind of a far out there thought, but we didn't think facial recognition was coming at all. Imagine what the future of this technology could be. I think it could enhance our experience tenfold. It's very exciting to think about. It truly is. Could this be the future? I don't know, but I'm excited about it. Nonetheless, there are going to be some guests who would prefer to opt out of this right now. And I think Disney's going to have a slow rollout of this technology. I do not think it's going to be just overnight every single kiosk is going to have Face ID. I'm going to call it that. That's a different name. It's Apple's version, but we'll call it that for this video. I don't think we're going to see that at every park, all over every kiosk right away. I think there's going to be kind of an optional area where you could maybe use Magic Mobile, since it knows that that's your phone and that's you, but there's got to be a way for Disney to verify that it's actually you coming into the park. Now, why is Disney doing this? Why couldn't we just stick with what we have right now? Touching your Magic Band to those orbs turns green and you make your way in. Now, the reason why this is so important is because you have to use your Magic Band for yourself. You cannot give your Magic Band or card or pass to anyone else. This has been the case forever, and doing so could get you banned from Disney property. Very, very important. Disney used to solve this by using biometrics, right? They'd use your fingerprint, verify it was you using your Magic Band. Now they have to come up with something else that involves touchless technology. Could be Magic Mobile, right? That could be what it is for a little while, just so it verifies that's your phone, this is you, right? This is an option. Maybe this will be the alternative to using that facial recognition. You can say, okay, this is my phone touching in, that's gotta be me because it's my phone. Otherwise, you're using facial recognition. I think that's likely going to be the future. Just touching your Magic Band to those orbs with no other recognition is not going to be around much longer. Now, while we're talking about getting into the parks, I do want to talk about Magic Bands. During the Mobile Magic video, I mentioned that, using your phone to get into the parks, super easy, super convenient, but Disney has mentioned that Magic Bands are here to stay. I truly believe that is the case. Not only are they super fashionable, you can change them out, they're collectible, they make Disney money, remember a business, very important, they make Disney money, and you always have a new one that you want to get for a special event, special occasion, whatever it is. Like the idea of Mobile Magic, it's great as a backup or for those who would prefer to opt out of facial recognition, but I hope and believe that Magic Bands are here to stay. So what do you think about this change at Walt Disney World? Are you excited to use the new facial recognition as you make your way into a park, or are you going to be opting out and perhaps using Mobile Magic in the future if that is the option? In addition, Magic Bands, do you have them? Do you want to keep yours? Do you never want them to go away? Let me know in the comments. Love to hear from you. Thank you so much for being a part of the magic with me today. Until next time, have a magical day.